Recording in progress.
Good evening, and welcome to the January 21st, 2026 Yarmouth Planning Board meeting. I am Joanne Crowley, Chair. The public is welcome to attend in person this evening or via alternative public access provided on the notice of meeting available on the Town of Yarmouth website. I'll begin by taking a roll call. Susan Britta? Present. Deirdre Gaquin?
Come on, Deirdre.
Here, remote, sorry,
There she is.
forgot to unmute.
Well, welcome, Deirdre.
Thank you.
Tom Pendleton.
Here.
Will Rubenstein. Peter Slovak.
Here.
Ken Smith.
Here.
Joanne Crowley, present. Seeing that we have a quorum present, I'll now call the meeting to order, and I'd like you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on our agenda this evening is an approval not required, an A&R plan, number 2371L. The trustees of Kingsway Condominium Trust, property that's located off the north side of Nottingham Drive in Yarmouth Port, Mass. Assessor map 142, parcel 17, in the zoning district R40. This A&R creates a non-biddable lot for conveyance purposes. Bradley Lamont, I think, is here? No?
No, Michael Kennefic, I'm the
Oh,
attorney
Mike.
for Kingsway. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. We have your plan here, so why don't you walk us through what you would like us to do tonight?
We're just asking for an endorsement. I know the planner had provided a report as well. In the fall, the town passed a town meeting article authorizing the town to buy this piece of property. There are a couple of conditions that we have to meet in order to make it saleable and in good and clear title. The first step was we needed some zoning relief to remove an open space restriction on that. We have that. That decision was issued and recorded last week. Step two is the A&R endorsement from you. And then after that, we'll have to file some land court petitions.
And when do you expect that the transfer might happen?
Well, we have to review some of the title issues. We definitely have to submit a petition to the land court to remove the property under 183A because it's designated as common area. And possibly have to file an additional A&R with the land court, but we're consulting with one of the title attorneys in the office. The grant itself, there's a grant that's funding, I don't know if it's all or the majority of the purchase.
It's a reimbursable,
If-
there's a part of it that is reimbursable.
The grant runs in June, so we're trying to meet that deadline.
Good, that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to hear.
Yeah, so that's one of the things where, Kathy Williams has been tremendously helpful, and Dolores with the zoning board as well, trying to, push this along, and, she's on the phone with me all day long, so.
Great.
Yeah, she's been great.
Kathy, you'd like to review the planner memo?
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with it. The only thing I would note with regard to my planner's suggestion is that I basically said, as amended to include the book and page number, as this is being registered at land, as the actual decision was registered at land court, it needs to say amended to include the document number for the recorded zoning ordinance. That's all. As far as the planner's suggestion for the
Great,
motion.
thank you. Any questions from the board?
No, straightforward.
This is an item that came before another committee that I'm on, the CPA committee, so
Oh, okay,
I'm
yeah.
pretty familiar with it.
Okay, good.
And we were happy that at town meeting,
Mm-hmm.
the appropriation was approved, and we're looking forward to moving forward with it.
Oh, yeah.
Given its location next to Taylor Bray,
Mm-hmm.
and this would be a great add to our, the conservation areas in town, so I'd like to make May I have a motion to endorse A&R Plan 2371L, prepared by Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors and dated January 8th?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
This is a new plan, so the dates are different as well.
Okay.
It's dated January 8th, but stamped January 20th.
Stamped January 20th, okay, so let me start
thank you.
again. May I have a motion to endorse A&R Plan 2371L, prepared by Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors and dated January 8th and stamped January 20th, 2026, as amended to include the document number for the recorded Zoning Board of Appeals decision 5205.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We need to do roll call. I'll start with Deirdre.
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Slovak?
Aye.
Ms. Britta?
Aye.
Mr. Pendleton? Aye. And me? Aye. Approved it unanimously. Should I sign some stuff now, Kath?
Sign the Mylar now? We can
Sure.
give it to Michael and he can take it.
Sure. And do you need my copy of the, you don't need those?
Different, maybe bring her.
Oh,
I'll have to have you sign them later.
later. Yeah, no worry.
2026.
I know, I know.
It's so easy to do.
January 2026. There we go.
Just as I was mentioning to Joanne, we don't have the extra hard copy, so she'll have to sign those for our records later, but the Mylar was signed and given to the
Okay.
applicant.
So I can come in and do that whenever you get them?
It's not a big deal, but yeah.
Great. Moving on to the second item on our agenda. Thank you very much for coming, we appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's a great add to our conservation areas. I would now like to continue the public hearing of the planning board that the planning board began on January 4th regarding Brian T. Basler, trustee of the Brian T. Basler Living Trust, and Marcy L. Basler, trustee of the Marcy L. Basler Living Trust, for property located at 63 Thatcher Shore Road, Yarmouthport, Assessors Map 122, Parcel 24.1, located in the R40 zoning district. At our prior meeting, we did read into the record the public hearing notice, so I will not do that, but I just would like to go through the order of the meeting. There'll be an introduction by the applicants, by Dan Ojala from Down Cape Engineering. Nice to see you again, Mr. Ojala. Glad you're feeling better.
Yes,
Kathy Williams will summarize her planner memo to the board. If there are any public comments, we'll take any questions or comments, and then any written comments that Kathy has received, which appear to be none. And then we'll have any discussion and questions from the planning board. I will then close the public hearing, and then we will have a vote. So following that protocol, I'm turning it over to you, Mr. Ojala.
good evening, members of the Yarmouth Planning Board. For the record, my name is Dan Ojala. I'm a land surveyor and also a civil engineer, and helping the Baslers, Brian, one of whom is with us in the evening, this evening in the audience, helping them out with should be a pretty straightforward matter. This is a glorified driveway to a single-family home, house lot. It's 1.4 acres. We started this way back in the day in 2017, or actually, I think it was probably even earlier.
2005, I think.
05, for the former owner, the Swift, who's been in the area since the Pilgrims. But in any event, we had long history with this. There was a lot sold off on the front that left not quite wide enough panhandle. So in order to have this be a buildable road, we decided rather than go to the zoning board and get a variance, would create a little lot out of it. I mean, a little way out of the lot. And that what that does is it gives it the adequate frontage to be a buildable lot. Again, it's just one house lot, so a lot of waivers were granted. You know, when you look at a driveway, you typically don't have any real performance standards. So you were comfortable in waiving many of the regulations. Those are listed carefully on the plan. I think there's two very minor typos, the 3/4 inch stone and an extra H somewhere on a land title, but pretty minor. The reason we're coming back today is we had proposed some country-style drainage, which was shallow grass swales, but the gravel that was utilized was so pervious that there's virtually no runoff, and so we can waive the requirement to put those shallow side ditches on. They did a nice job of, you know, saving some trees. If we had to put little side ditches on, I think we'd have more trees would come down, which would be unfortunate. And you simply don't need it if you've driven up there. It's a nice wide driveway, nice and safe, firm base. The other waiver was it got a little tiny bit steep as we got up towards the lot. I think it went over about 0.5% over what you're required for the center line of the road. And so that, in an abundance of caution, we asked for a waiver on that. So what you're basically looking at with the plan in front of you is an as-built plan showing just like what would like to have proposed on the site in terms of the constructed width, the water lines there, the gas lines sleeved and ready to be pulled through the conduit. We set all the monuments that were required. One of them fell in a big rock in a stone wall, so rather than trying to disturb that rock with an excavator, we set a drill hole on an offset for one of the points of curvature. That's carefully noted on the plan, so any surveyor would be able to utilize that in lieu of a cement bound. So I think you could safely grant the waiver to not set the bound, which saves the big rock. I think that's a summary of what we were looking at there. Kathy did a very careful memo which went through point by point. I'm sure she can hit on any minor thing that I missed, but again, it's basically a glorified driveway for a single-family home, and it's all completed. Just like to get this cleaned up so that we can then apply for the certificate of compliance or the the as-built and sign off, the final sign off. Again, engineering seemed okay, water seemed okay. Kathy will go over some of that. Be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Ojala. Kathy, would you like to walk us through a little bit of your planner memo?
Yep, there's not a lot more to go through. I think I would just emphasize that you're asking for the waiver for the cross slope.
Oh, yes.
Instead of the 1/4 inch, it's 0. But they've already gone to the Conservation Commission with regard to removal of the swales, because they did require a determination of applicability for that, and they approved that at their December 4th Conservation Commission meeting. They already have their subsurface septic system approved by the Health Department. I've gone out there several times personally, and everything is just very, very stable, even after some large rain events. So I didn't have any issues with regard to the removal of the swales, nor any of the other minor waivers that were being requested. The Water Department did have some things that they wanted to figure out before, not that aren't related to the waivers, but they're just related to making sure that that 2-inch line's adequate for residential sprinkler system. I think it is, but that needs to be confirmed with them. And then they need to pull a water service permit in order to do that. I believe the water meter pit's there, and that Dan has picked it up and can put that on the as-built drawing. I did get an email from Amanda Lima, the town engineer. It's in your packets here as well, indicating that she also did not have any objections to the waivers requested, including the elimination of the swales, and that the culvert pipe also looked clear of debris at the entrance to the driveway. So I think everyone's pretty, and they also have an Old Kings Highway certificate of appropriateness for a home as well. So they've got a lot of work done, and this is kind of like their last step here to finalize this and get through this process, so then they can come back to us with a formal request to release the lot, and they can actually get their building permit. On the last page, on page 3 of the memo, it just basically gives you a suggestion for consideration for a vote to approve the definitive plan number 1648H, Modification 2, subject to the following waivers and conditions. And these are the ones that Dan was referring to. Waivers from the rules and regulations governing the subdivision of land. All waivers that are granted as shown on the definitive subdivision plan of land in Yarmouthport, Mass., prepared by Brian Sullivan Realty Trust, dated May 5th, 2017, and last revised October 3rd, 2025, which is what you have in your packets, with the following amendment. Waiver number 11 on the reference plan shall reference subdivision, definitive subdivision 1648H, and that's the H that Dan was referencing, modification number 1 instead of definitive subdivision 1648. Modification 1. And conditions, again, all conditions of approval shown on that plan that I referenced with the following amendment. Condition number 1 on the reference plan shall reference 3/4-inch bluestone. The definitive subdivision plan will be modified to include these amendments to the waivers and conditions.
Okay, questions from planning board members? And then I'd like to ask the public if they have any concerns, issues. Any questions? Ms. Britta?
No.
Ms. Slovak? Ms.
Nope.
Smith? Okay.
Satisfied.
Would you like to comment on this one? No? Okay.
Does Deirdre have anything? I always forget about
Deirdre,
people remote.
Thank you. When you're
No.
up there, I'm going to forget you, so jump in.
No questions.
Okay. So, what I'd like to do is, and there were no written comments, Kathy?
No written comments. I did have a couple of people come by and ask questions because they were curious. They weren't sure what was going on, but once I explained it to them, they seemed satisfied.
Okay. I have just one question. So, nothing has been built in all these years because of these back and forths about the driveway? So,
Generally, we get the road built, it took a little while to get the water, there was, some time, so the road is constructed.
right, right.
But in terms of the building permit, no, that was held up by this process, basically.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
We've been busy and, it gets on the back burner and then Brian forgets to bug me, so it goes a little longer.
I think you're supposed to blame the client, Dan.
He's a very patient man. But anyway, here we are. It's, that's the main cause for the delay, I think,
Okay. So may I have a motion to close the public hearing on definitive subdivision plan 1648H, modification number 2?
Move.
Second.
And we'll do a roll call. Deirdre Gaquin?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Slovak?
Aye.
Ms. Britta?
Aye.
Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
And me? Yes.
Okay.
So now, we need to have a motion to approve the plan. So may I have a motion to approve the definitive plan, number 1648H, modification 2, subject to the following waivers and conditions. The waivers from rules and regulations governing the subdivision of land. All waivers granted as shown on the definitive subdivision plan of land in Yarmouthport, Mass., prepared by Brian Sullivan Realty Trust, dated May 5th, 2017, and last revised on October 3rd, 2025, with the following amendment. Waiver number 11 on the reference plan shall reference definitive subdivision 1648H, modification number 1, instead of definitive subdivision 1648, modification number 1. The conditions. All conditions of approval shown on the definitive subdivision plan of land in Yarmouthport, Mass., prepared by Brian Sullivan Realty Trust, dated May 5th, 2017, and last revised on October 3rd, 2025, with the following amendment. Condition number 1 on the reference plan shall reference 3/4-inch bluestone. The definitive subdivision plan will be modified to include these amendments to the waivers and conditions.
So moved.
May I have a motion?
So
Thank you.
moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll do a roll call. Deirdre Gaquin?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Slovak?
Aye.
Ms. Britta?
Aye.
Mr. Pendleton?
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye. Thank you, Mr. Ojala.
Sure, I appreciate your continuance. I'm feeling much better from the last one. I was no shape to meet the meeting last time, so, but thank you very much.
Oh, you're
and,
welcome.
We'll get you a Mylar with those little changes on it. Do you want the revision date of today, or what would you like for a revision date?
I think you can amend it tomorrow, it's fine, or today.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's fine.
22nd per planning board approval.
There you go,
Excellent.
like you
Thank
did last time.
Yeah, we've cut a few Mylars here. Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the Village Center Overlays District and Master Dot Corridor Improvement Projects on Route 28. Kathy has provided a memo on this. We started this discussion at our last meeting, and this originated, and Kathy will walk us through this, on a plan that's being developed, it's in site review, where the roadway project kicked out some issues for us that Kathy thinks that we might be able to address through a minor, quick amendment at annual town meeting. So Kathy, I'm gonna turn it over to you at this point for you to walk through the memo that you sent.
Sure.
And I will try not to ask too many questions about red lines and green lines and broken black lines, but tell me if I'm asking too many questions.
No problem. Sometimes I forget. I'm so used to reading plans and what they all mean that sometimes I don't explain it very well. As Joanne mentioned, there is the Mass DOT Route 28 Corridor Improvement Project, which is currently almost at the 75% design phase, and that runs from the Parkers River westward, actually all the way into Barnstable to Yarmouth Road. And this is something where Mass DOT is looking at expanding the roadway layout to include, they're going to have bike lanes, a sidewalk on the north side, and a 10-foot shared pathway on the south side, which is going to be separated by a 5-foot wide green strip. Because of this widening and the narrowness of the roadway layout already, this has resulted in the need for some strip takings along the Route 28 frontage, the extent of which can really vary depending on the individual lots, as they have relocated some of the center line, mainly to minimize impacts to the environment. In VC1, the bulk of the takings are actually along the south side of the roadway, typically 11 feet to 13 feet. But please note that the right-of-way plans that we have now are at the 25% phase. Once they do finalize the 75% submission, which is waiting for a utility walkthrough. This is where they get all the utility companies together and they literally walk the entire length of the project. It's going to be really hard to get all those different people together, and it's not just for a 2-hour meeting. It's going to be extensive because they got to walk the entire length of it. So we'll know a little bit more after that walkthrough is when the 75% submission is done. But as you know, the VCOD is the only bylaw that we have that not only has a minimum front yard setback from Route 28, but also has a maximum front yard setback, except for VC2, which doesn't have that. So what we're finding on some of the projects, and kind of the project that came before us at 645 Route 28, which is that mixed-use project, has 2 small commercial on the first floor facing Route 28, and then 11 dwelling units. That's the project that the Affordable Housing Trust provided some funding for. It's already gone through the Design Review Committee, and it's gone through site plan review. But because they are taking 11 feet and then 5 feet, it's very difficult for them to design. Do I design it for the current property line? Because no one's even contacted them so far with Mass DOT. They don't contact them until after the 75% design submission. So unfortunately, it's this one who's usually the first person mentioning these projects to a lot of property owners. That was the case with the water park that Peter mentioned at the last meeting. They didn't know anything about it until I brought it up at the meeting. So this is a case where they would like to actually construct it with the minimum maximum, but based on the anticipated new property line, so that when they're done, they're not going to be too close to the shared use pathway. If they built it right now with the minimum maximum, the front of the building might be like 10 feet off the shared use pathway, which might be a little bit too tight and would create a non-conforming building. So they would like to do it based on the new property line that's going to be hopefully taken as part of this Mass DOT project. But in order to do that, the current zoning bylaw would require a variance, the way it's written right now. So the simple fix is just instead of making it a variance, we would make it a special permit relief. I do know that Peter had mentioned, well, could a variance be given, I think, at the last meeting? And yeah, it's a potential, but it's much easier to get a special permit. Special permits also last 2 years before you have to start construction. And then you can, of course, ask for an extension, but variances are 1 year before you'd need to ask for an extension. So there are, and it's also easier to get and harder to appeal than a variance is. A special permit, it would be more difficult to appeal. So what you'll see at the very last page of the little packet is some red line edits, where I'm just kind of showing. All we would do is right now relief. All relief through the VCOD is through special permit except for building height and the maximum front yard setback. I would just delete and maximum front yard setback so that that would make that eligible for special permit relief. And then there's a whole section within the VCOD, which I didn't realize this was quite so lengthy, and all these special permit things that the ZBA could take into consideration when granting a special permit, but also including something saying any relief granted in yard setback requirements are related to land takings or permanent easements taken as part of a public roadway improvement project. So that would give the ZBA something to hang their hat on to understand, okay, I can give this special permit relief because it's related to this particular issue. So it's a relatively simple amendment. There's also some other things we'd want to discuss, but I don't know if we want to discuss the zoning article first, and then we can talk about other things.
Questions? Concerns? Yes, Ms. Burdick.
So basically, Kathy, what we're substituting is, instead of a variance, we're just putting a special permit.
Exactly.
With the special permit, and I don't know the answer to this, special permits, do they have a time limit? Are they sunset at some point? Would this be just a special permit for projects in this particular, tied to this particular state improvement section, or?
It would just be the criteria that the ZBA would look at when they were giving a special permit relief. It would be.
But related just to the improvement to Route 28. It doesn't, this special permit doesn't spread out into any other roadway or.
Correct.
Okay, so it's tied strictly to this, to the Route 28 improvement.
We could even say that Route 28 improvement projects, or something like that, or just emphasize that the part of a Mass DOT Route 28.
I would like to see it. I think we should probably limit it, or at least refine the identification of where it's going to be applied.
Madam Chair, I think that'd be appropriate.
So it's part of a Mass DOT Route 28.
28 project, yeah. Improvement project, I think it's called.
Okay. Yeah, Mass DOT Route 28 roadway improvement project.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe corridor improvement project, because I don't want to include utilities and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would be a timeline for when they might start this? Did you mention that? I don't remember.
The last I had heard was 2028 was like,
They're hooking up to the sewer.
right.
So, and they're also, for 645, they're also, I believe, leasing the land to Diggett Construction.
Right.
So they're going to be there for a little bit while. But it helps them to get through the permitting process, and then they know where they stand. They can start looking at budgeting and doing pro formas and getting their banking all in order if they have their permits. And you know, special permit is 2 years, but it's not a difficult process to say, oh, we didn't quite make it, we're waiting for the sewers, or we're waiting for this, that, or the other thing, and get another year extension pretty readily.
So shovels in the ground for that particular project are years, it's years away.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
But getting the permitting, the licensing, the fee, get that, this helps them expedite that,
I think
the
so.
soft costs associated with it.
Yeah.
Also helps with financing too, guys. You know,
Absolutely.
you gotta go with an appropriate design to get financing,
Yeah.
so.
Any other questions or concerns? Kathy, I just, whenever we revisit VCOD, I'm always amazed at, and my eyes kind of roll back in my head a little bit, about what these developers have to look at, and the designers. it's always a good exercise to understand what's in for the requirements on setbacks and sides and back and height and green space and all of that. So from that perspective, I appreciate that we're looking at this again. But if we do decide that we want to move forward with an amendment, so I think some of those questions, may come up again as to how complicated this is. And I know we had our consultants, which I managed to dig out of my closet, this really good, large overlay district, which was very helpful for me to understand all the complications that we have. And wherever we can help a developer, make it easier for them, I think it's our job to do. And I think this simple adjustment, right now, quickly, it's a quick fix, is a good one. But I just want to take a minute, because I know you're a professional engineer. Can we just go through quickly the red and the green lines and the broken black lines? I know this is not part of what the amendment will be, but just a quick understanding of what all that means. We can use Captain Parker's as an example. Is his whole floral arrangement in front and his little drive-through in front going to be affected? And the Sons of Erin, if you go down on the other side, are they going to lose the, 8 parking spaces in front there that they have? So, those are just two
Yeah,
examples.
this is a little tricky because this is just the right-of-way plans. It doesn't show you the actual construction plans. So the red lines are the approximate existing property lines, but the actual Mass DOT roadway layout right now. The green line, this line here, is their proposed taking, meaning they're actually going to be taking that land and purchasing it. Some of these other lines, and I'm not exactly sure all of them, but some of them are typically temporary construction easements that are needed in order to grade up or to
The broken black
the
line.
broken black line, right. Lots of times you'll see them at road driveway aprons because they need to come in and blend in and that type of thing, so that there's a temporary easement going there. But there are definitely locations, because where's the Sons of Aaron?
It's at the very
Sons of Erin
back,
is
Left-hand corner.
after
lower
Applebee.
left.
Wow. Yeah, they're going to get dinged.
Yeah.
Having been a member, I know the parking spaces that are there, and it looks like, and I don't know what the saw cut means there, but,
Socket
Cut in the
typically
pavement.
is milling of the road,
so the road will be up to there.
Yeah, the dashed line is where
You can, yeah,
grading begins.
right.
anything that says TE, like this one here, in little arrow here, so this is in the front, I believe, of the Sons of Aaron, yes?
So Kathy,
Yeah, that is the Sons of Erin at the, right
That's a
here, yeah.
temporary easement.
from the green line to the black dotted line, that is the area of taking,
No, it's from the green line to the red line.
to the red line?
green
So
to
it's-
red,
So it's
okay.
green to north into the street, not south toward the
This is
property.
the curb line
Okay.
now. And this is the property line now. This will be the new property line. And that'll probably be maybe like a foot off of the shared use pathway. or
Okay.
something.
And so on the dotted black line, just using the Sons of Erin as an example, and actually, I'm a former member, so it's not a conflict of interest. When it has the 100 plus or minus, is that from the center line of Route 28? Is that what that means?
No, that's the distance along this line, about 100 plus or minus feet to
Oh,
here, and then about 12.
the distance of the line, I get it, to the next point.
Yep, you
I
got
get it, yep, okay.
You kind of have to see, what's going in those areas, and you can kind of see how what's being taken. But there are some places where parking is being impacted, and they're trying to find other alternative locations, and/or they will need to take all of it into consideration when they do the appraisals.
And right next door to the Sons is the Captain, is the converted hotel, motel. I forget what's, Captain Gladcliffe, right?
No, it's Appleby Court Apartments, I think.
I thought right next to the Suns.
No, it's
It's the apartments right there.
Yeah,
Gladcliffe's further down.
It's not Gladkiff.
okay.
It's owned by, well, it's the
It's one of the
Healy's.
Healy's. Yeah, it's one of the Healy's.
They're
I
both the
forget what it's
Healy's
called.
that originally developed them, so maybe
So-
that's what you're thinking.
So that building is relatively close to the street as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, and they're going to be taking a big chunk permanently. So you're going to find that a lot of people who might have really nice buffers and buffer trees.
Yeah, tree.
We've been
the
working
tree-
on for
the tree
years.
taking.
Especially that condo association right opposite Giardino's, the one that they put the
Yeah.
beautiful apartments and they really built up the berm and that's
Oh, yeah,
all covered with trees
Beatrice
now.
Lane.
Yeah, it's really lovely. It's real, I think all of that's going to be affected,
A lot more stuff will be affected than you
plus the two
think.
parks.
Yeah.
Plus-
I don't think the parks are too bad. But it's people who have things like the berms.
Yep.
Even like the Hampton Inn. They have a nice little berm.
Oh, definitely.
That's vegetated with
And,
beautiful
and,
trees.
and the Cove.
Yeah.
The Cove, yeah.
The Cove, De Palmas, that's all going to go. That'll all be pushed back toward the, unfortunately, they chose the south side of the street. The north side of the street could really use some work. The south side of the street looks relatively decent for long stretches of time.
Like I say, it really varies. It's not like an 11-foot or 10-foot
Right.
standard swath for a shared use pathway or something.
I guess
It
one
varies.
question, Kathy, and I mean, I don't know if you have the answer, but why didn't they take it equally from both sides of the road?
I think they did try to do that in some locations. That's why
Well,
I'm
this
saying.
part, it doesn't show it as,
No. It's depend, could they modify the center line? You know, there's radii they need to take into consideration, design standards and that.
Especially when they started talking about those roundabouts. They want to put, what are they called, roundabouts? I call them rotaries, but they're not really small.
roundabout at the lights there.
Yes, and that pushes everything on either side, because those are bigger than than a regular intersection.
Right, and then traffic lights at Town Brook on 28.
What was the effect that, we had the meeting for Gardner Tile property, the 3 duplexes, 3 two-families?
I'm sorry, what's the
Other side
question?
of Parkers River, the
Yep.
project there was, they didn't factor in the taking in their plans that they presented?
No, and that's the section of the, kind of the next part of the conversation is, this corridor, I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm echoing. This corridor improvement project isn't one and done. They obviously want to extend it and have that section run through all of Yarmouth. So from Parker's River Bridge to the Bass River Bridge project that's under construction right now. And they're probably going to continue a similar cross-section, because they're going to want to keep the shared use pathway all the way along. So that project has been initiated, which means it ends up, the request was made to Mass DOT, and they basically have assigned it a project number. There's no designer that's been assigned to it. Typically, lots of times, these are things that the town might have to pay for the designer. We were lucky with this corridor improvement that Mass DOT is paying for that design. But that's something that's going to take quite some time to design and develop. But those are things that we might want to keep in mind for the rest of the VCOD. So it's not just this project that's actually almost 75%, but there's going to be another project, 10 or 15 plus years down the line, corridor.
Yeah,
This
Ms. Britta.
is probably a hypothetical. At one point, one of our consultants recommended or observed that we had too many of these overlay districts and thought and recommended, or at least suggested, that we give some consideration to consolidating. Is this amendment going to, this won't inhibit any of that, correct? This amendment that we're talking about, this will apply regardless of whether we have 4 or 3, okay, or 2 or whatever it is. It's going to apply to a roadway as opposed to the
It would apply to the Village Center Overlay District.
districts plural.
Yep.
Okay,
It doesn't apply to VC2 really, because we don't have a
right, we
maximum.
don't have them, okay.
So VC1, 3, and 4. I think as you get further down, and I think it's, I'm not exactly sure where, but the right-of-way widens to 80 feet of Mass DOT. But lots of people still have all their stuff. Everything is still in the right-of-way. So when they widen it there, they may not need to do a taking, but they're still going to have impacts.
Right.
And they assume they get compensated for that.
They would not get compensated for that, because I don't, these guys would,
Because
but
it's a
I'm talking about
taking,
where people have, like, maybe they have their buffer, or maybe a little piece of parking, like, I don't know, that
Not gonna be
plaza near Mill Lane.
Will there be no
That whole first
compensation for
row of parking is in the layout of Mass DOT.
So the state's going to take it with no compensation to the homeowners?
I think they've already compensated. I don't know how they got the layout to begin with. There must have been some compensation at some point.
I haven't heard about anything, have you?
A long time ago. I mean, it's been that way when they made
Really?
Route, right, when, this was like when Route, this is my understanding, when Route 28 went up like this instead of, originally, I think it went through Old Main Street. So this was a change that was made a while ago. But there are different areas, like you can see the property line on this right here is much wider, does some weird little jog than it is here.
Right,
So that you have weird things like that on the state highways.
yeah, and they widened the section in front of Shaw's already.
Right, there's a little bump out,
right.
exactly. And that's a long process to get,
Yeah, it's 2 years.
we had to do it for Parkers River Bridge. And
Any other questions or comments? Kathy, I did have one suggestion on the language for the draft amendment. I noticed that you strike 10.
I did,
Is
yeah.
it just going to be
It need-
collapsed into 9?
No, so I don't know why it did that. It's going to remain 10, the new one will be 11,
So,
and the rest will be
so 10 would
renumbered.
become, so, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why it did
Because I thought it actually could be collapsed, but however you want to do it would be fine.
There's a lot of things here. When I'm reading them, I'm like, do we really need all those? But no, Kathy, don't.
I'm tempted to go in and adjust a bunch of them.
Well, I'm just looking at them and I'm like, there's a lot. But
Yeah, well, that's.
it's also, you don't have to meet all of them. It's a case of, this is helping the ZBA to decide, these are things that are important when considering a special permit, not that they have to meet.
Kathy, will this impact the entrance to the drive-in site?
What's this?
Will this,
Yeah, they're gonna have, this is one of those weird, oh, it's not in here. One of those weird cases where we wanted to build it the way we originally designed it, but it ended up with the crosswalk would have been on our property, and they didn't want to deal with any takings. So we ended up having to modify the design to have the crosswalk within their layout. So later, they're gonna come in and this is what we've been coordinating with them, and come in and rebuild it the way we wanted it. So it adds more money to them to go back in.
it's not going to impact the pumping station there?
No, that's off the,
No, they
It's off-
accommodated,
it's okay.
they accommodated
It's already
that, they
been
knew about
planned,
it
yeah.
when they were designing it.
Okay.
it's far enough back.
So the purpose of the discussion tonight, the outcome Kathy and I are looking for is that we give her a green light to go ahead and move this forward and get some, an amendment and a proposed amendment in front of us at our next meeting.
Yep.
So we can get them, I think we do have a placeholder
Yep.
right now on the warrant, so there's a spot for it. And I think this is a simple, quick move, but we have the larger issue, and again, going to this document from our consultants, when you look at all of the overlay districts in this area, we're going to need some help to look at them and make it simpler and better. I think if we can do both of those things, that would be great. Because this was, again, every time I look at these VCOD, whenever a VCOD comes before us, or a road project, you know, our eyes kind of roll a little bit. Anyway, so you have the green light.
All right, I will work up something for the next meeting.
Okay, can I ask you
Yes.
something? Has the state had any informational meetings for I know they've had information meetings of what the plan is, but I guess I'm really kind of one-on-ones with these business owners of any type.
I do not believe so. I believe that they have a protocol, a whole right-of-way process. And when I talked to Tom Courier, who's the project manager, very nice, very responsive. He said that I specifically asked about the timeline. They're like, we're not going to talk to them until we're pretty, down to the nub with regard to the right-of-way plans, because they don't want to go get the appraisal, the review appraisal, and then go to someone and then have it change, and they need, another 5 feet of temporary easement or
Yeah,
something.
no, I get it, okay.
But yeah, I mean, the only way that people know anything was related to the different select board meetings, and then there was a
Hopefully through us tonight.
us tonight. Yeah, don't call me, I don't know. I only know what I know. I only know a little bit. Yeah, but they did have their formal 25% public hearing. And there really wasn't as many comments as I thought there would be.
Yeah, there will be when they really realize the impact. That's what I guess I'm trying to get across, so.
It's going to be a big visual impact.
It's gonna be a huge visual impact, and it's gonna affect some businesses.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like the Sons of Aaron.
Yeah,
They're going
I
to be
mean-
really squeezed against the edge of the side.
They got to figure out ways of making these property owners whole again, is the way I refer to it. Like, if you're taking a big chunk and you're taking some parking, where else can you
How
put
do you
it?
make it whole from taking parking?
I don't know whether they actually construct it, but when you're doing, one of the things that we talked to Tom Courier was about, if you are taking 5 parking spaces and they need those 5 parking spaces in order to meet their occupancy load to have that actual business there,
That's right.
then you need to find another place for it, or you're taking a lot more away from them than you think they are. So they've been looking at other places where they can locate parking, but I'm like, okay, are you paying them, compensating them for design and permitting, in the construction cost of all of that? So
That's
it'll be
exactly right.
curious to see what happens when people start talking right-of-way and compensation and the appraised values and all of
Right.
those things.
So people will be compensated. I thought you just said they weren't going to be compensated.
No. These people will be compensated because they're taking some of their land to expand the right-of-way. My point is where the section of the existing right-of-way is already 80 feet, then
Yeah.
they have their stuff, the
Yeah.
private property stuff's in the layout, then I don't think they would be compensated. I'm not going to definitively say that, but I don't think they would because it's their land, it's the state's land.
Yep.
Okay, next on our agenda is the Community Preservation Plan that has been prepared by the CPA committee that I'm a member of. As the planning board member assigned to this, I put it on the agenda if anyone had any comments on the draft in advance of the public hearing in February. We have one more meeting in advance of the public hearing where we'll finalize any other changes to the draft. This is a little bit of a change, but I thought it was important that I kind of carry the water from the planning board and not just have it be me. This is an annual report that we do that describes what the CPA is, how the funding works, what we've done in the past, what the goals are, and then what some of our accomplishments have been. Interestingly, the convergence tonight of the property with Kingsway, as I was looking closely again at the report, we listed the acquisition of that property as an accomplishment, and it's not. We haven't accomplished that yet. So we need to put that in next year's report. But that was the one catch that I saw, and I wasn't sure if any of you had any other comments that I could bring forward. Again, there's a public hearing. This is a draft of that report. The input from the public hearing then informs the report, and then it becomes final.
Madam Chair, I guess the only one that I just wanted a little clarification on, under their accomplishments, this Parker's River Bridge. What was CPA's involvement in the bridge, under accomplishments?
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We actually got awarded $1.6 million for open space protection because it was a tidal restoration project, and it was opening it up, and it was helping to protect all of that
I thought that
upgraded
was a
open space.
Route 28 roadway project.
No, that was a town project,
Okay.
which I would never recommend that we do again.
Fair Fair enough.
But we ended up getting other grant funding, so we gave back almost 800, I think we gave back the second $800,000. So it
Yeah,
worked out.
we,
But having that money helped us get more grant money,
Yeah.
so it was very helpful.
you actually reimbursed the CPA funds.
Yeah, we
I
gave
think,
back, we didn't need it,
Yeah,
so.
No, it was a great job. It flows a lot better up into Swamp Pond there.
yeah. So if anything comes up between now and, I think our meeting, the CPC committee meeting is the February 21st. The meeting is on the 28th.
This month.
I'm sorry, January 28th is the next meeting of the CPA, where, right?
I thought that was the public, when's the public hearing?
I thought it was in February.
I can look.
Too many dates on my
I
calendar.
know, I hear you. Keep going, I'll see if I can
No,
find it.
Actually, why do I think it's even later than that? That the public hearing on this was, I'm pretty sure it's,
Oh, I can't look at the room bookings.
should know. I don't have it in front of me. Sorry about that. But, you know, through Kathy, if you have any other comments that follow. But I did catch that one that, and it, you know, it was just a convergence of tonight and the property with Kingsway. Mattakey's Utilization Committee.
Yeah. We had a good meeting, and essentially a good discussion, where the MUC, by consensus, agreed to move forward with the 5 concept designs that they reviewed at their meeting on January 8th. And so BSC Group is working on a memo and a PowerPoint presentation for the Select Board meeting of February 3rd, where MUC will be giving their update. I think that would be more of a BSC-heavy presentation with an introduction from Sharon Weimer, the chair of the MUC. And then town staff is also going to be having a presentation directly after, talking about the next steps in using the Mass Development Grant to look at the financial feasibility of the sports complex and the market that's out there for that, as well as continuing with BSC Group work, which is related to, delineating that wetlands and getting a survey and doing traffic study and looking at sewer connection, and then also looking at potential zoning amendments, which will come back to us. Because right now it's residentially zoned, so there's very limited things that you can do there now. It's not zoned for a sports complex.
Kathy, can I ask a question?
Of course.
On the hiring for the consultant to do the financial feasibility study, who writes the statement of work on that? Does the MUC do that, or does the town staff write the statement of work about, the request for proposals? Who writes what we want? Is that done by town staff, or is that done by people on the MUC?
That was done by town staff in
Okay.
conjunction with the actual consultants. The way Mass Development works, they have their, consultant doctors, and for example, BSC Group is one of those consultants that's on their books, so to speak. So we don't need to procure them; they're already on there.
Right.
But they worked up proposals that got submitted with the grant application. And I'm sure they worked very closely with Bill Scott on what that would be.
Anything else on MUC? Okay. No meeting minutes, right, Kath?
Nope.
Okay, committee updates. Who wants to start? Susan?
I'll do, Tom and I, as you know, are on the library construction committee. We're meeting weekly, and the emphasis right now, at least for the next couple of weeks, is going to be public outreach, getting word out because there seems to be, I guess, enough information from the library staff, as well as just sort of anecdotal stuff, that people still do not know a lot of information about the library, which quite frankly is consistent with human nature. No one's going to pay attention to it till the week before the town meeting, and then they're going to start asking questions. But we are making a real concerted effort to meet with the chamber, meet with homeowners groups, meet with a whole bunch of, anyone that's out there that's a group. We are prepared to go and meet and go over what the project is all about. The decision has been made to make that outreach now and get these appointments set up after we have the estimates. We should have estimates
Well,
for the end of,
I know the architect is beginning to assemble his cost estimator.
Yeah.
So he's, and then once he gets approval
What
from
was
the
it, the-
NBLC.
at the end of February,
and
right?
Then January, we'll get the approval by the end of January, he thinks, so they think. And then they'll start doing their actual cost
Right.
estimates.
They refine it, and then we'll have a reasonably decent number. A number that we can certainly explain. And with that, we'll make a huge push to get out to, because that's the only thing people are really going to be interested in. They like the design and all that, but the first question they're gonna ask is, how much is it gonna cost?
Can I add just a little bit to that,
Sure.
Susan? And is that, the other thing, I talked to Amy ATA this afternoon. Apparently there was some money left on the old OPM contract to do a second estimate.
Right.
So we're looking into possibly getting a second estimate to go along with the architect's estimate and then see where we are. And then we are gonna do a podcast, with the town. So probably later this month or early February.
We talked a lot about the issue of the second estimate, and I think the general consensus of the committee was, as long as we had the money and it wasn't gonna cost extra. And the consultant basically said that's sort of routine, with a project this size, get a second estimate. Because I felt confident that if the public knew that we had an opportunity to get a second estimate and we didn't do it, they'd wanna know why. So we had the money, it was sort of a belt and suspenders approach, and we agreed to, Tom said he'd speak to Amy about it, and I think that we're gonna spend the money and just go ahead and get it done.
So is the second estimate a value engineering estimate?
It's basically the
It's
same thing.
all-encompassing,
Yes.
Because a value engineering estimate isn't just a new estimate.
No, it's,
It's one that looks at where there can be some shrinkage, if you will.
they may do some of that, but it's basically gonna be the same criteria.
Same criteria.
Right,
as
same
what-
criteria, so you get apples to apples. If they can find opportunities to do value engineering, it
They
will
will
be
do it.
mentioned,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's not a requirement.
And then the two estimators, if there's significant difference, the two estimators will meet
Right,
and discuss where the differences are and
Right.
come to some reasonable.
Good.
Good to know.
yeah, and then when we get the estimate, in order to make sure the residents know exactly what they're voting on, you'll get the construction estimate, you'll get those costs that are gonna be reimbursable, those costs that, the town is gonna be responsible for. For example, one of the elements of this competition is the town has to raise a certain amount of money through fundraising, and I think it's $2.5 million. If they don't raise $2.5 million, the town has to make up the difference. All those are gonna be laid out so that the residents know exactly what is at stake. There can be no one claiming we didn't know, or no one told us. There'll be a complete data sheet of exactly what, construction costs, soft costs, what's reimbursable, potential savings from maintenance costs like solar panels, and then the things like, the fundraising. So they have a complete idea of exactly what's at stake.
I understand the fundraising pieces are still a little squishy.
It's, I don't think it's squishy.
It hasn't been finalized yet. I know that there's squishy is a great word. There is a conference call, I believe, on Friday to talk about the actual fundraising work. It has yet to be decided whether it's gonna be a foundation or through how it's gonna be done.
Right.
So that has to be decided.
Yeah, and we did weigh in, I did tell them what we had done at the drive-in site, selling the planks, selling and how difficult it is. And a lot of people did buy those as Christmas presents and putting it, but there was not a huge rollover of people buying those. So again, it's tough to people pick and choose their charities. And in this day and age, the picking and choosing is a lot more, finite than it was before.
And
So
and different libraries across the state have set up
And they do it,
different
absolutely,
different-
they do it different ways.
foundations or nonprofits.
Yeah.
Eastham Library is one that set up
And they were
a
very
separate, and they
effective.
were very successful in raising a lot.
Eastham was through a foundation.
Yeah,
and they
through a
did- they
foundation.
did
It's a very
great.
tight year-round community up there, somewhat different than Yarmouth.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And those-
Well,
that-
they only have one library,
That's right.
right.
so it makes a difference, so.
But again, that's the kind of thing that when we put our cost piece together, everyone's gonna know.
Yeah. Oh,
There
that's
would be
good.
no one, oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah, it was right there. We told you what it was gonna be.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, just a,
Other committee.
just
Yeah,
a
sure.
quick one on capital budget, which I'm stepping off and Tom's stepping on. We're actually doing some wrap-up meetings in February to finalize all our numbers from this round of capital budget. Then we have a meeting with the Board of Selectmen, which I believe is on March 3rd, but I'm not positive on the date. So I told Sandy that I would come to the first meeting in February, pass the baton to Tom, and she asked if I would come with her to represent it at the Board of Selectmen meeting in March, which I said I would, so.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, wastewater, we meet in 2 weeks, so.
Technically, the appointment is that he starts May 1st.
Oh, well, then I guess I'm sorry, Tom, I was not aware,
I can attend just as a member and look.
But you're still the voting, like,
okay, so then I guess I'm on through March until the Board of Selectmen meeting. Thanks, I tried. All right, let me rescind what I said. I'll go to all the meetings. Tom, you're welcome to come.
I'll show up for a couple short,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'll let Sandy know tomorrow.
Well, I'll see her tomorrow night.
All right, let her know that I'll be there through February.
We had a nice design review committee. We saw the BCO project that will come before us. It looks like there will be a stop along the way for
the 703.
Yeah, for the 703, which is the property adjacent to Parker's River, the old used furniture place.
Gardner Tile.
Right on the river.
Right on the river.
Yeah.
3 detached, 2-story buildings, three stories if you count the garage, which is underneath. They're in a flood zone. 3-bedroom units, townhouse style, 2-family duplex style townhouse.
They are duplexes.
Yeah, it looks good.
How many units, Peter? All told?
Six.
Six.
6 units. Eric Tolley did the design.
Oh, good.
All with water view, I assume, right? Must be.
On the river.
It's a pretty tight site. The driveway comes in on, behind it, so not on the riverside. Most of the front of the river area has some easements and some driveway
Yeah.
easements and things there, so
It'd be wonderful. Real plus for the town.
Huge improvement.
it looks really nice. Taco Bell, Kathy, any feedback from?
They have submitted for site plan review. So they went to design review, which is advisory, and now they, I haven't received my copies yet of
Take
them.
any of Sarah's?
I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't gotten the official notice. I just know that there was a big box of rolled up plans from Taco.
May have noticed Piccadilly Deli is closed. We're good?
Stab.
Physical therapy
Physical
is
therapy, yeah.
Is already in there?
No,
They're going in there.
heading that way.
Really?
So where are we gonna get our
Station and a half?
scrambled eggs?
no. different
you're not
one,
us?
Apparently,
A new, someone else?
yeah.
That's sad.
Yes.
The buyers
That's
of the
been there
property
50
are the
years.
Anasos, so it would make sense that it's that physical
Could
therapy.
be
group.
right, you're
Yeah.
right, that's right.
Okay.
So no more scrambled
It's
eggs.
kinda sad.
No more meat with Piccadilly Deli.
No Piccadilly Lilies? I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. Next to the Unitas Therapy on Station Ave, that building, they did line striping in the parking lot.
Yeah, they did.
The old Martin's Liquor Store?
Yeah,
Is it
they
coming-
did,
is
they,
it coming,
they have
Kathy, or
done
we
line
getting-
striping.
Don't
I'm
know
like,
what's taking so long. They've been spending money and working on it,
I
so
mean,
the
you go to
striping
Sweet
is
Tomatoes
promising.
and you cut through there, and I went, they've got line striping down now.
Do they
Must
have
be
a
something happening.
Occupancy permit, if they have, I mean, is it, probably
Well,
not.
I don't know, I'd have to talk to
They
Mark.
were supposed to
but-
be like a Salumeria, right? Like an Italian, high-end.
Grocery.
Deli is
Exactly,
grocery.
grocer, deli, yeah. Has there been any movement, Kathy? I'm sorry we're throwing this stuff at you, but the old Tasty Buffet property that, up on 28 in West Yarmouth?
No, the 228,
approved.
Route 28.
We approved, that's why I was
Like a
asking.
year ago.
I've heard that they're not having a good, they have financial, it's a whole about the finances and whether they can make it work.
Okay.
They did have a floral, they had a flower place this summer, like a
Yeah, that
flower.
was a
which-
temporary-
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
temporary, but
that
it was
was
very
just-
popular.
Yeah.
Kathy, anything on Great Island?
Nope.
My personal favorite, now that we've ended the first decade of that being vacant like it is, I thought a memorial question. Nothing?
No, nothing.
Are they losing frontage on their side or the other side?
It's not too bad. It's more on the other side.
They don't have much to lose.
Scally
there,
side?
so-
Which they just, of course, they just did that new gas station on the corner, so they're gonna lose all that nice gardening in front of it.
They knew about it, I mean, when they
Yeah.
did that work, so I think, again, what we're trying to do is encourage people to plant your plantings as far back as possible. Don't
They
plant
did do a
them
couple
like
of big
right up.
rocks, which I think they can move back.
They knew about it, and we had talked to them about it.
Any other committee?
Yes,
Deirdre? Oh,
You
I am
started
so
us,
sorry.
Deirdre.
I apologize.
no problem. No, there have been a few meetings of the Housing Committee and a few things that we've talked about, like the 703 that Peter just mentioned was, it looks like it's going to be beautiful along Parker's River. And then there was a site visit to the Wood Road Habitat for Humanity project, and everybody, that seems to be progressing nicely. And also a lot of discussion about the 645 Route 28 that Kathy's given us so much detail on because of the zoning amendment. And all of these, both of the ongoing projects are all waiting for 2028, so that the 645 is currently, as Kathy mentioned, being used for staging of the sewer project. And they're going, in addition to the frontage issue, apparently it's going to require two lots being joined because of parking needs that will be better served if it's a single lot. So that's something that sounds like will be coming up. At another meeting, Megan Eldridge gave us a very, very good summary of the muck, and with obviously a focus on the different housing options. And I think we've all seen a lot of those muck alternatives, and it's all, seems to be coming together nicely. The Yarmouth Housing Authority, I believe they've had a meeting in the last couple of days, and they're trying to come up with solutions to the water problems at the Forest Road site, and to try and come up with a new approach to an RFP. And then I think the most interesting thing has been the Affordable Housing Trust, the meeting the other day that Kathy and Joanne both had a lot of good comments at. I was watching remotely about the short-term rental report that's moving through. Now they're finalizing the report, and we'll all have to be making a lot of decisions about what's good and what wouldn't be good. And so I think those are the basics of what's been going on in housing.
Yeah, it's been a little bit busy for you.
It has been.
I would just want to point out, I think at the last meeting, we talked about the presentation on the short-term rental study was going to be on February 10th, but the select board are not meeting on the 10th. They've moved their meeting to the 24th.
Right.
So that's going to be on the February 24th. And as I mentioned, I will post that. We're hoping it kind of be more of a joint meeting. You guys have more ability to, more conversation and questions hopefully
Yeah.
can be asked as part of them.
So Kathy, it's gonna be in the Board of Selectmen on the 24th, is that what you
Correct.
said? Okay.
At one point, did I see language that said it would be a joint meeting?
That's what Mary keeps referring to it. It's totally up to the select board. I'm just going to post it as a planning board meeting and hope that the select board are respectful and let you guys ask questions.
All right, yeah, and obviously if 4 of us show up, it would be a meeting.
Yeah, so I'll post it.
Okay,
All right, on the 24th, right?
yeah. Okay,
I have a paper copy, by the way, if anyone wants to print on both sides. I printed out the report that Kathy sent us.
Red line one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very helpful.
yeah, the red line version.
yeah, I'm not sure this is red line. I mean, I see red print, but I'm not sure it's,
Yeah,
this is the one that says January 2026.
They submitted both, and then at the meeting, at the Affordable Housing Trust meeting, we asked that they provide the redlined version so that we could see the actual
you sent it on
changes
to us.
in the document.
All right, so this does not have the changes. This might
I
be,
sent it out the other day. It's very, there's not a significant, I don't think, amount. They did add some additional information. One of the things that they did find was that the median price for the short-term rental housing is similar, it's like $500,000, similar to the median.
Kathy,
price.
will the meeting with the Board of Selectmen, would you think they're going to be focusing on the recommendations for revenue as opposed to discussing the picture of our short-term rental situation? Are they going to be focusing mostly on the recommendations for raising revenue?
Based on the comments, and Deirdre, feel free to chime in, but based on the comments from Mark Forrest, he wants a clear conclusion about what the severity of the problem is and make it very clear what that is, and before we can even think about how we might be able to come up with
Well,
particular
what is the
solutions.
statement of the problem? I always was confused. What is the exact statement of the problem? I was confused about exactly what is the problem with short-term rentals.
Well, I think there's good and the bad. I think what the whole study was about is, are we losing year-round housing to short-term
Okay.
rentals?
So that was sort of the research question. Okay.
And that, sorry to interrupt, Deirdre, but I think that seed has been planted for years now by the Housing Assistance Corporation and others. Not that it's not necessarily true, but it's just become this point of discussion among the affordable housing groups as to some of the areas where we might look to get more permanent affordable housing. And I'm still not convinced that some adjustments to short-term rentals are going to help significantly
And
in the end with the housing. But I will say that the apartment complexes being built on East Main Street in Hyannis probably will.
yes, but have you seen it?
Yeah, I drove by it today.
It's shocking.
It's against the sidewalk.
It blocks the sun. It's unbelievable how big it is. It's right on the sidewalk. It is shocking what it's done to that end of Main Street.
There's more to come.
No, I know. Well, I think
So we'll let
Hyannis
them
has,
solve our
I think
Yarmouth
Hyannis
housing
has
problem.
finally identified its personality.
There we go. We'll be a suburb.
Yeah, it's just a massive, between that and of course you get the Bornstein project at the very end of those streets. So you get huge concentration of
Yeah,
housing.
but that's big money.
No, I know, but I'm just talking about housing in general. That's just a whole, that,
Well, eventually you're gonna have the old Cape Cod Bank and Trust Operations Center.
That's right.
That's all gonna be housing
that's
too.
all gonna be housing too.
Sorry, say that again?
Right on the very beginning of Main Street.
That's TD North.
Was
Yeah,
that, well,
yeah,
years ago, it used to be Cape Cod Bank and
Right,
Trust.
But
right.
I'm dating
And
myself.
that's
that's
currently
okay.
vacant, I think. That's totally vacant, isn't it? That
Yeah,
building is
it's
totally
completely
vacant.
But they have plans approved for that, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that what Joanne said is really the key factor. Is there really a problem? And like Mark Forrest is pushing for, we've got to define if there's a problem. And it's hard to say that there's certainly no indicators that we can measure it at this point. But I think the real issue is that we have to do something at the town meeting in November because the current clause expires. So if we let it expire, then they technically, apparently from legal cases, it means that short-term rentals are simply not allowed, which is
Right.
obviously an impossibility in Yarmouth.
Yep.
So we either just have to make a new one or extend the existing one. And I think that's the real problem, just that we have to come to a conclusion, even if that conclusion is they don't cause a problem.
Right.
Right.
I think one of the pieces of and then I'll shut up about this, but I look at this all the time. As long as housing is a private sector activity and it's provided by the private sector, the government, generally does not do it unless it's an extreme case. Providing housing is a private sector activity. And so we have an element in our society, which is housing, that serves two purposes. It's an investment and a business for some, but it's also, it serves a social purpose on the other hand. And when and how should the government intervene with the private sector to get that social service provided? the landscape, as you know, was littered with failure on the government, whether it's federal, state, or local, to tinker with a private sector activity, tinker with the economy, because you create a false market. And that's not good. So how should you do it and when should you do it? And that's why I think Mark's question is very good. Is there really a problem here? And your point is well taken. Even if we tinker on the edges, is there a problem? And is this tinkering going to solve it?
Well, how do you measure the problem? Is the problem?
Exactly.
Is it?
Seasonal? Is it?
Well, no, if you were to just measure it in the sense that how many houses would or might be available if we capped it at 1,500 or 1,400 or whatever numbers, if it was capped, would it bring back 5 houses, 10 houses, 20 houses? So how do you want to measure? How does Mark want to measure?
How do you
that?
measure? How do you measure?
10 enough,
Right.
or does it have to be 20 or 30? I mean,
Right.
how are we going to measure it? So.
And, and if you talk to some real estate agents, they'll tell you that there's lots of product in Yarmouth. There's lots of houses between 500 and 700. The issue is these these families trying to get the down payment. They're now paying a huge amount of rent, which they could convert into a mortgage payment. It's getting that $100,000 down payment to get them into that private sector home. And no one talks, and Mary used to have a program like that, but because the value of houses has gone up, the down payment is higher, and they just can't afford to do like the 5 or 6 that they used to do. Maybe that's something that should be looked at too, is to beef up that down payment program to allow qualified applicants, the teachers, the policemen, the firemen that want to live here and can find a nice little Cape Cod cottage, shingles. That's another, no one looks at that. They always look at subsidizing the market and changing the market. And I think that's too short-sighted. There's lots of solutions if there is a problem. If there is a problem.
Okay.
So that's it. I won't mention it again until we get to talk
We're
about
going to be
it.
talking about this a lot more.
I think so.
It's probably going to be on our agenda from now until special town meeting. Okay. Kathy, any staff updates from your side, correspondence?
Yeah, I do. I got a call from Christine Megason from 811 Route 28, and it looks like they got their financing, and they have a contractor, and they're going to start construction on those 8 townhouse units at 811 Route 28.
Which is 811, Kathy?
It's next to Silver Cloud. It was the
Yeah.
8
Oh, yeah.
townhouses.
The one,
rather.
the hydrant.
That's right,
Yes,
the
the
one with the
hydrant
fire
one,
truck
right.
turnaround.
Turn around, and
Right.
yeah.
I'll always refer to that as the hydrant project.
Yeah, so I was so happy to hear that. She's lovely, and
That's
she's worked so
fantastic.
hard on it, so I'm
Well,
glad.
that's good news.
Great to see some action on 28 happening.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, the road project down by me at the intersection, the lumber is up, and it looks like it's, moving forward, which is great.
That corner property.
Yeah, yeah, the former gas station, yeah. They've been working on that every day. Anything else, Kath, from your end? Okay. We have just a couple of upcoming meetings, February 4th and obviously the 18th.
And possibly the 24th.
Yeah, we should have that.
And February 24th, you're right, yeah. For the 4th, Kathy, we'll look at, what did we think we were going to schedule
I
for the
thought we were
4th?
going to talk about short-term rentals and talk about the report in more detail. We keep
Okay.
talking about it, but it's never
All right.
really officially on the agenda.
We'll do STRs on the 4th. And then the 18th, anything in the pipeline?
I don't know whether any of these VCOD site plan review projects are going to want to move forward or wait or see where they stand.
Okay. And we'll have the amendment to talk about.
On the 4th,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you say Taco Bell was on site plan review?
Yes.
Which is just town staff, yeah. Like I say, I know they submitted it, it hasn't been distributed.
And then it goes to design?
It went to design, it
Oh,
always
did,
goes to
all
design
right.
review
Yeah,
first.
So you've seen it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's when we had some suggestions. Sarah Porter did up a nice sketch to try and make the architecture better. They didn't change anything to do with the site. But it's going to go through site plan review, and then they need a lot of relief from the ZBA.
Okay. All right, so if we have nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Deirdre Gaquin,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Slovak. Ms. Britta,
Aye.
Mr. Pendleton. Aye. And me, Joanne.